They told me not to sing past the second verse, but that night, in the soft glow of my daughter's nursery, I forgot the warnings, the old wives' tales, the faded red ink scrawled on the back of a music box I bought at a dusty estate sale. All I saw was my baby crying, her tiny fists clenched, her face red and trembling, and I just wanted her to sleep. So I sang. The first verse was sweet, just like the box promised, something about stars and dreams and silver wings. My daughter calmed, her breath slowed. I rocked her gently, smiling at the peaceful look on her face. Then came the second verse. My lips moved before I could think. The melody shifted slightly, darker, slower. I remember how the light bulb flickered, the crib creaked, the temperature dropped, but my daughter stayed still, sleeping deeper now, as if something was pulling her down. And I should have stopped. I knew I should have, but I didn't. I sang the third verse, and the room changed. The soft blue walls turned darker. Not the paint, but the feeling. Like something huge and ancient had just crouched outside the window. The shadows stretched longer than they should. They didn't follow the light. They moved on their own. I looked down. My daughter wasn't in my arms anymore. She was still in the crib. But something was off. She was too still, too silent. Her skin looked pale, almost gray under the mobile of paper stars. I reached for her, heart racing, and then I saw them. The claw marks. They hadn't been there before. They were gouged into the nursery wall, 4 deep slashes, parallel and angry, cutting into the paint beside the crib. At first they looked random, but as I stared I realized they were shaped like sheet music, not just random scratches. Notes, measures, a song, the same lullaby. My breath caught. The melody was still in my ears, looping softly like a cursed echo. The longer I stared, the more the wall seemed to hum. Not the house, the wall. The clawed music began to pulse, vibrating slightly like a tuning fork. And then it played. No speakers, no source. Just that wall, singing back to me in a voice that sounded too human to be a machine, but too cold to be a soul. My daughter stirred, her eyes opened. But she didn't look at me. She looked past me, right over my shoulder, smiled. I turned, slowly, nothing, just shadows. But they didn't feel empty. They watched. I picked her up and backed away, whispering nonsense to calm us both. My hands were shaking. I grabbed my phone, opened a browser, and typed in the song's title from the box's inscription, Slumber Beneath the Roots. There were no results, none, except one. A single old post on a forgotten folklore forum from 10 years ago. Just a title and a line, every mother who sang it. Vanished by verse 3. I slammed the laptop shut. The box was gone. I'd left it on the rocking chair, but now the chair was empty, still gently swaying. A low hum, almost like breathing, began under the floorboards. I ran. I took my baby, grabbed my keys, and bolted for the front door. As I flung it open, wind blasted in, though the night was still. Every tree outside leaned toward our house like they were listening. The stars looked wrong, twisted. And above it all, I swear I heard a voice, not singing but humming, right behind me. We drove. No destination, just movement. I didn't stop until the sun came up. I checked into a motel 3 towns over. My baby finally slept, wrapped in a motel towel, the lullaby still whispering in her breath like a forgotten dream. But I couldn't sleep. Because when I looked in the bathroom mirror, something caught my eye, on my neck, barely visible. 4 thin, red scratches. Like the beginning of another verse. I didn't sleep that night. Even after driving hours away, after checking every lock, blocking the windows with motel chairs, and clutching my baby to my chest, I still heard it. The lullaby. Not out loud. No, it was deeper than that now. It hummed behind my eyes, thrummed inside my chest. A haunting that wasn't just around me. It had moved into me, and every time I blinked, I saw that nursery wall, with its claw-marked sheet music glowing faintly like a warning. By morning, I was desperate. I scoured every thread, forum, and archive that even mentioned the lullaby or anything similar. Most were myths, ghost stories, bits of old village folklore, but one name kept repeating, like a signature whispered across decades, the hollow choir. A forgotten cult. Long dead, supposedly. They believed certain sounds could open doors. Not just metaphorical ones, real doors. And their sacred song, a lullaby. Meant to summon something ancient beneath the earth. Something that traded safety for silence. I found a name. An old woman once interviewed about the cult before they disappeared. A woman who lived off-grid in a cabin 4 towns over. No phone, no email, just a postal box and a warning. Never sing what you do not understand. I didn't hesitate. By noon, I was standing at her rusted gate, clutching my daughter, whose skin still felt a little too cool. The woman opened the door before I even knocked. "You sang it," she said. I nodded. Her eyes narrowed. "All 3 verses? I didn't mean to. You never mean to. That's how it works. It makes you forget." She stepped aside. "Come in, quickly, before it finds you again." The cabin was filled with strange things. Old music boxes, wind-up toys, cracked porcelain dolls with stitched mouths. On every wall, markings, scratches. Like the ones in my nursery. She didn't ask for my name, just pointed to a chair. "You have until the next nightfall," she said. "After that, it won't be watching. It'll be following." I looked down at my baby. "Can it be stopped?" "No," she whispered, "but it can be contained, if you're willing to lose something." My stomach nodded. "What do I have to lose?" She looked at my daughter, then back at me, something it already touched, something it now wants. I refused. I wouldn't sacrifice her. So, the woman told me another way, a ritual to rewrite the song, not to erase it, but to trap it, bind it into something smaller, like a memory you never revisit. But it required going back to the nursery, back to where the song first opened the door. Before I left, she gave me an old charm, a cracked locket with a lullaby inscribed inside. "Don't lose this. It's the last verse, the one they hid. If you sing it before the 3rd, it might close the door again." That night, I returned home. The house looked the same, but wrong. The door creaked louder than it should. The air inside was thick, like breathing underwater. My footsteps echoed too long. Every surface hummed. When I reached the nursery, the walls were bleeding ink. The claw marks had grown, stretching across the ceiling now. The mobile spun without wind. The crib was empty, even though I hadn't entered yet. I took out the charm. My hands trembled as I read the verse etched inside. It wasn't sweet. It was raw. Ancient. A warning disguised as a melody. And I began to sing. Verse 1. The shadows twitched. Verse 2. The ink peeled from the walls, curling like burnt paper. Then, I skipped the 3rd, and sang the final hidden verse from the locket, and everything screamed. Not out loud, not with sound. The house screamed. The walls shook. The shadows lunged. And then, silence. Not peace, just absence. I looked around. No daughter, no crib, just the music box sitting on the floor, closed, still. I ran to it, heart in my throat. I opened the lid and gasped. Inside was my baby's smile. Just a flicker. A flash of her face in the reflection of the glass. I touched it, and I heard her cry, far off, as if behind a wall too thick for sound to pass. She wasn't gone. She was trapped. Inside the lullaby. The nursery was silent now, deafeningly so. Even the air stood still, thick with the residue of something unholy. My fingers trembled on the edge of the tiny music box where I'd seen her. Her smile, caught like a photograph trapped behind a foggy window. I whispered her name, barely loud enough to stir dust, but in the stillness her name echoed back. Maeve. A giggle. It was faint, playful, not quite right. I spun around, desperate, searching for her, but found only shadows stitched along the walls like they'd been there for centuries. The locket in my hand felt heavier, pulsing like a heartbeat. The charm lady had said I might trap it. I hadn't understood then. Trap what? Now I knew. My baby was inside the melody. Not a metaphor, not a vision. The song had swallowed her whole. I collapsed beside the crib, cradling the music box, trying to hum the final verse again, but the words stuck. The lullaby. It didn't want to be reversed, and it was changing, rewriting itself in my memory, twisting sweet lullaby into discordant nightmare. Each line I thought I knew came out wrong, backwards, and bleeding with syllables that weren't mine. Still, I sang. The room cracked. The shadows peeled away from the corners like spider legs unfolding. I saw eyes open in the wallpaper. Eyes that blinked once, then wept black tears. The ceiling began to drip. Slow, syrupy sludge that smelled like burnt wood and sorrow. Then, a soft knock. Not from the door, from inside the wall. 3 knocks. A pause. Then, A lullaby sung back to me, off-key, mocking, and a voice, my daughter's voice, soft as a dream. "Mommy, don't finish the song." My throat clenched, the tears broke loose. "I'm here, baby. I'm going to get you out." "No," she said. The walls bulged, pulsing with breath. The melody grew stronger, and from the corner I saw a shape peel away from the wallpaper. A silhouette made of stitched-together lullabies, a choir of open mouths without faces. The hollow choir. It didn't speak, it just hummed. Verse 1, I backed away. Verse 2, the light died, the windows went black. I had seconds before they reached verse 3. So I opened the locket, and this time, I didn't just sing the final verse. I screamed it. It was an act of violence, of rage, of pure maternal terror. The melody tore from my throat like a weapon. Every claw mark on the walls ignited with white fire. The choir recoiled, their mouths warping into endless O's, trying to swallow the sound, but it was too late. The nursery exploded with soundless thunder, the shadows ripped apart, the music box shattered, and then, silence. Real silence. The kind that fills your ears when you realize you're alone in a vast space, and nothing is chasing you anymore. I opened my eyes. The nursery was gone. I was in a white room, and in front of me, Maeve, alive, breathing, but older, just a little. As if time had passed differently for her inside that melody. She looked at me and whispered, "You changed the song." I fell to my knees, hugging her like I'd never let go again. I ended it. She shook her head. "No, Mommy. You wrote a new one." Behind us, the wall started to hum again, but not dark this time, not broken, just a single, clean note. A new beginning,